Who's my next fight? My next fight is going to be a fight in between my next fight, which is looking more and more like it might be Shakur. Just to let y'all know, man.
Okay, I'm reloaded.
Oh man, so now all of a sudden, apparently Lamont Roach is an elite level fighter. Basically, the way that he's being talked about is if you grade Lamont Roach on the scale of A to F, he is now an A level fighter after getting a majority draw against Tank Davis back in March 2025, right? So where this is coming from is the post that you saw in the beginning of the video where he's talking about having a big fight after somewhat of a tune-up, since he hasn't fought in about 6 months. But his planned big fight after the tune-up is against Shakur Stevenson, right? Now, let me get this out here. I don't have a problem with Lamont Roach saying he wants to fight Shakur Stevenson. I have no problem with that. Lamont Roach is, I believe he's the WBA regular champion. If he's not the regular champion, I think he was upgraded to super champion. I don't remember if Hector Luis Garcia had the super title or not. I don't really remember at 130. But since then he went up, challenged Tank, right? And you know, had a close fight with him, a fight that I thought he won, right? And we'll get to that in a minute. So a guy who is basically trying to take the popularity he's gained off of fighting and not getting knocked out against someone of Gervonta Davis's popularity status, he's supposed to be calling out the big names. He's supposed to want the big names. That's where the money's at, right? And at the same time, he gets an opportunity to solidify his legacy. So I have no problem with him trying to go after the big fish at 135. The problem I have is the fans, man. So we made a post out of his clip on our Three Kings Boxing Facebook page. And there were a wealth of comments. I mean, more than I ever would have expected to come out on this topic, of boxing fans saying that not only does Lamont Roach beat Shakur Stevenson, they're saying that Lamont Roach murders Shakur Stevenson.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
One guy was like, if y'all think Lamont Roach loses this fight, am I missing something? Like, he said it with confidence, as if Lamont Roach is levels above Shakur Stevenson. Like, Shakur is really out here in these streets walking around with a C-level tag on his head, bro. I mean, this is the same Shakur Stevenson, a 3-division champion, right? 126, 130, and 135. He dismantled Jamel Herring, right? The same guy that beat Lamont Roach. He dismantled Oscar Valdez, who is better than any win that Lamont Roach has on his resume. He outclassed Robson Fonseca, who's another guy that I think is vastly underrated by the majority of boxing fans because they don't know what they're looking at. Very good fighter. Another guy that can possibly be better than any win that Lamont Roach has on his resume. And then he's got William Zepeda, who in my honest opinion, I don't think Lamont Roach can beat William Zepeda. Dude, guys, this is the same nigga. Lamont Roach is the same nigga, right? That, like I just said, he lost to Jamel Herring. I mean, he didn't just lose to Jamel Herring. He was beaten by Jamel Herring for the majority of the bout. I think he landed a good shot in like the 11th or 12th round or something like that in that fight and had Jamel Herring on wobbly legs, but that was pretty much the gist of what he had did in that fight. I know one judge had it a close fight, but that fight wasn't close, man. The other two judges had it a wide decision for Jamel Herring, and that's where I was when I saw that fight. He dominated that fight. This the same nigga that went life and death 2 years ago with Hector Luis Garcia, a common opponent of Gervonta Tank Davis, whom the latter knocked out, right? Now, there is some context that I'm going to add there when I get to Tank. But at the end of the day, in my opinion, if Hector Luis Garcia doesn't get counted for a knockdown in the 12th round, he retains the WBA title. He retains it. Lamont Roach didn't dominate that fight. He was having trouble with Hector Luis Garcia. It's the same dude, right? And that was just 2 years ago. This the same nigga. We talking about the same dude, right? That had a draw with, well, like it said on this platform. So I'll just put his picture up. This guy. And judging by the picture, you know what it is that I can't say. Right? All I know is you had a draw with this dude. That's a loss in my book. Just the thought process of me as a man. I'm not losing to this guy. I'm not giving this guy any type of opportunity to say that he was in a close fight with me. Just saying. That's 2K, dog. A lot of other niggas out here don't operate that way. But that's how 2K operates. I'm not getting a draw against this guy. But Lamont Roach didn't have a choice because he's not a top level fighter. Now people are going to be like, oh man, that was 2018. You referencing fights 2019 and 2 years ago, bruh. He way better now. He got way better. All right, bet. Let's get to Tank. Because really, the reason why people are saying that Lamont Roach is an elite level fighter today is because of Tank Davis and him being overrated, bruh. Tank Davis was never at the top tier upper echelon of fighters that these fans of him want to put him at. Tank Davis has a cult following. He has a cult following of a lot of dumb motherfuckers, bro, that don't know boxing, that just like who he is, how he carries himself, right? He has that thuggish mentality. A lot of dumb motherfuckers follow that. They like to portray themselves as such, and he can fight, right? And he's knocking people out on top of that. So they would like to liken themselves as him. That's who they think of themselves, or that's who they want to be like, is him, right? And it's usually a lot of the younger niggas. Some of the older cats that don't really have much sense, they like him as well. But that's pretty much who Tank Davis is appealing to. It's a cult following. It's really no difference than the cult following that Canelo Alvarez has. It's no difference than the cult following that Deontay Wilder had, right? It's no difference than the cult following that Manny Pacquiao had. Hell, it's no different than the cult following that Floyd Mayweather had. I would say that Floyd Mayweather fans know more boxing than the Gervonta Tank Davis fan, because those guys don't think Tank could do any wrong. Floyd Mayweather was closer to not doing any wrong than somebody like Tank Davis. He's got a hell of a lot of holes in his game. But Tank Davis was never that guy, man. He avoided fights that he was supposed to take. I mean, he's still an active fighter and still hasn't fought top quality guys yet. Ryan Garcia is not a top quality guy. Lamont Roach was never a top quality guy. Rolly Romero, Mario Barrios, Liam Walsh, Yuriorkis Gamboa was washed at that time. Leo Santa Cruz is probably the best win on his resume. I think Leo Santa Cruz is a better fighter than Jose Pedraza. Jose Pedraza at the time that Tank fought him was not a top guy. Yes, he was the IBF champion, but when you factor him in with the sport as a whole, he was not a top level fighter in the sport of boxing. Remember, the fight before Tank, or a couple of fights before Tank, I'm not looking at this shit, but fights before he fought Tank, he struggled with Edner Cherry and Steven Smith. If you don't remember Steven Smith, he is like the fourth brother of the Smith brothers, right? Callum, Liam, Paul, and him. All British guys. The best one out of the bunch is Callum Smith. The worst one, you got it, Steven Smith. Some people would say Paul Smith. I think Steven was worse than him. So Jose Pedraza struggled with that guy and then fought Tank. He was not a top level fighter in the sport of boxing. So the top level guys that we would be expecting Tank to fight. You know, Teofimo Lopez at one point. Shakur Stevenson, that fight's still on the table. They could still make that, but they won't do it because Tank is not interested in fighting guys like that because he's already a multi-millionaire fighting guys that he's been fighting. Francisco Fonsecas, right? Hugo Ruizes, right? Those guys. He's a multi-millionaire fighting those guys. So he would never take on the challenge of somebody like a Shakur Stevenson. Hell, he won't even take the challenge of a fucking Devin Haney, who got exposed by Ryan Garcia. Even though that fight got overturned, you can't overlook the fact that Devin Haney was running into left hooks from Ryan Garcia. Running into them. He would get hit by one, then run right back into it. Right? Even though he showed that vulnerability, Tank still ain't jumping the gun to try to fight him. Yes, he ducked Vasyl Lomachenko at 130. Yes, he did ask for the fight within the last year before Vasyl Lomachenko actually retired. But Vasyl Lomachenko's washed at that time. So of course they're going to target Vasyl when he's going life and death with a Jermaine Ortiz. He's losing to a Devin Haney. He's clearly lost a couple of steps. He's getting older. Of course he's going to call him out then. But when he was sharp and he wanted Tank at 130, he didn't want that smoke. So yes, at one point he ducked Vasyl Lomachenko as well. A lot of people were saying, oh, Tank never ducked Vasyl. Look what just happened in 2024. Don't rewrite history just because something more recent happened. You got to look at the entire story. And you look at events in chronological order. Tank Davis was the first one to duck between him and Vasyl Lomachenko. And it was when the fight really fucking mattered, when they were both in their prime. Tank had already won a IBF title and a WBA title at 130. They were both in their prime. They're both ready to go 100%. Right now, Lomachenko that had shoulder surgery and shit. He was 1 foot out the door before Tank called him out. He was done, bro. He's a washed fighter. It's too late at this time. But it's funny because Floyd always said, we don't have to go after Vasyl Lomachenko right now. He doesn't have much time left. We got all the time in the world. I'm paraphrasing, but that's what Floyd used to say whenever he would speak on Tank Davis versus Vasyl Lomachenko back when Tank was at 130, right? We're talking like 2017, 2018-ish. That's what those type of things he used to say. Because he knew Vasyl had more miles on him than Tank does. Vasyl had over 400-something amateur bouts, became a pro at like 30 years old or something like that, right? He had more miles. So Floyd was just riding it out. So was Tank. And they tried to cash in on him right before he decided to retire. And Vasyl Lomachenko did the right thing. He's not in a boxing mindset. He retired. Anyway, Tank Davis, we're still waiting on this guy to fight somebody. And the reason why he was able to make Lamont Roach look good is the same reason why he was able to make Rolly Romero look good before he caught him and knocked him out. And when I say this, guys, when I go through these fights, I want you to think about who this sounds like. Who does this sound like? Where's the familiarity at? He's struggling with Rolly Romero. I had Rolly Romero ahead on the scorecards at the time of that stoppage. How was Rolly Romero beating him? He was outboxing him. Leo Santa Cruz was outboxing him. He caught him and knocked him out. Same thing he did with Rolly Romero, right? Hector Luis Garcia was having excellent moments outboxing Tank Davis. Knocked him out, right? Ryan Garcia had excellent moments against Tank Davis boxing. What'd he do to him? Caught him, knocked him out. What does that sound like? Canelo Alvarez, guys. Canelo did the same thing against Caleb Plant. Billy Joe Sanders was outboxing him, caught him, knocked him out. Hell, even Amir Khan. Amir Khan's outboxing him, caught him, knocked him out. Tank Davis is the brother version of Canelo Alvarez. Literally. Overrated, overhyped. Now, does he suck? No. I don't think Tank Davis sucks. Just like I don't think Canelo Alvarez sucks. I just think these guys are overhyped because they were knocking people out. If you know enough about boxing, right? You've been around boxing long enough. You know that cats get amnesia when they see a knockout. They don't give a shit about what transpired prior to the knockout. They're like, oh man, you see what the nigga hit that nigga with, dog? Man, he put that nigga flatline, my nigga. Damn, bro. That's what they looking at. He flatlined him, so that's what happened. That flatlining moment is what happened in the entire goddamn fight. Forget that the guy that got the knockout was getting outboxed, outclassed. He didn't have the IQ, or at least he wasn't matching the IQ of his opponent while he was losing the fight or being outclassed, or at least the fight being competitive, right? None of that mattered. It was, nope, the final result. He got hit and slept. That's my nigga right there. Highly overrated, and Lamont Roach showed that. Lamont Roach is not necessarily a better fighter in terms of technical ability than he was when he fought Hector Luis Garcia in that Gervonta Tank Davis fight. He's doing the same shit. The difference was Tank Davis is used to being able to lure his opponents into traps that he's trying to set throughout the fight. And then when he gets that one big hit in, those guys' will is wilted at that point. They felt the power and either get concussed at that moment or they're weary for the rest of the fight. And they basically changed their game plans because they felt the power of Tank Davis. And then Tank eventually catches up with him again and puts him out for good. That's literally what Tank Davis is doing in these fights. The only difference here against Lamont Roach was that Roach was able to handle Tank's power. He's a tough kid. I will give him that 100%. Toughness, probably A level. He's strong-willed, and he wasn't going to let the fact that he was a major underdog deter him from wanting to get the best of a guy that he has history with going back to the amateurs. Don't think that doesn't play a part in his strong mentality as well. So he went in there with the grit, the toughness, and the heart to be able to take what Tank Davis was giving him and make adjustments, on top of the fact that he executed a game plan, blueprint if you will, that has been in these streets on Tank Davis since he's been fighting Rolly Romero and Ryan Garcia and Hector Luis Garcia and all these guys that were outboxing him before he slept them. Just like I said with Canelo, there's literally a blueprint in the streets on how to beat him that Terrence Crawford was looking at. There's a blueprint on how to beat Tank Davis. The only caveat was you just had to be tough enough to take his best shot. And Lamont Roach was, man. That's the only difference. Put that same level of talent in the ring with a guy like Shakur Stevenson, who is literally out here showing every single secondary version of a Floyd Mayweather, bruh, that pretty much what we have close to that in this era. Are y'all niggas kidding me, dog? You kidding me, right? Shakur will destroy this nigga. Completely outclass, make him look dumb as fuck, as dumb as he was making William Zepeda look. Lamont can't outbox him. He can't outthink him. He's not technically better than him. Listen, he's not faster than Shakur, right? You could say he has more power. I don't give a shit, but I doubt that too. Lamont don't have a major knockout percentage on his record. Dude's got 10 knockouts and 25 wins. Shakur probably has more power than him as well. He doesn't have a better IQ. He doesn't have better footwork. He doesn't have better defense. Shakur is better than Lamont Roach in every facet of the game. It don't matter what he did against Tank Davis, because Tank and Shakur Stevenson are totally two different fighters. And Shakur would destroy Tank Davis as well. Put it on record, 2K said it. Y'all know I hardly get shit wrong. I ain't worried about this, because if that fight ever happens, Shakur destroys Tank Davis as well. I say Tank wins 3 rounds in that fight, maybe. Lamont Roach, Shakur might beat this nigga 120 to 108. It'll be a situation where y'all fans jump out on a limb because you don't know shit about boxing. You don't know what you're watching. It's not the fact that you may not know shit about boxing. Some of you guys might be very knowledgeable when it comes to who fought who and what year, who were the champions back in 1963. You know what I'm saying? You guys might be knowledgeable when it comes to that. But when it comes to comparing styles, coming up with a breakdown of two compared styles, right? And coming out with a prediction, a logical one, you guys are trash at that shit. There's no way you can look at Lamont Roach and who he's fought in his resume and say that he murders Shakur Stevenson. That shit is crazy, bruh. I hope this fight happens. Shakur, in my opinion, is like, I don't give a fuck who I fight. Bring him. That's easy dough for Shakur Stevenson, bro. And he's already agreed to this fight, right? But he's looking at Teofimo Lopez. That's who he really wants. Because Teo's more of a challenge. Lamont Roach ain't no fucking challenge for him. That's easy work. Lamont Roach is easy work like Yoet Gonzalez was at 126. He easy work like that. Teofimo Lopez is a much bigger challenge for Shakur Stevenson than fucking Cockroach, man. Get the fuck out of here, man. Y'all know what it is, man. Go in the comment section. Let me know what you think about this, man. Shakur Stevenson would absolutely demolish Cockroach, bruh. This nigga got all kinds of cans of Raid in his tool bag, man. Fuck out of here, man. Let me know what y'all think. We'll be back on another one.